The downfall of a stubborn man. It's a beautiful sunset in a small Caribbean neighborhood where the sun shone bright, giving it a warm atmosphere. The air is filled with chatters of people in the street, but underneath you have the winds that whispered secrets to those who would listen, and those who don't gets in trouble. In this nice cozy house, you have this beautiful couple, Marcia and Jerome. Their lives are very peaceful and happy, but what they don't know is that dark clouds are coming above their house. Marcia is a very intelligent person and can smell danger from afar. She is standing in the kitchen and she looks very worried. Jerome is a man of pride, strength, and a stubborn streak as wide as the ocean itself. His wife, Marcia, a woman of wisdom and intuition, often tried to steer him in the right direction, but Jerome, in his confidence, believed that he knows best. Jerome, Marcia said, as she washing the dishes, you used to work less and get more profit. Now I think you are working harder for less than before, and you are staying out longer with your friends. You need to be careful about the people you trust. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. But Jerome would chuckle, brushing off her concerns like dust from his work boots. Marcia, you worry too much. These are my people, my friends, my family. They are people I can trust. They wouldn't hurt me. Marcia would sigh, her heart heavy with a foreboding she couldn't shake. For she knew that Jerome's trust, like the sands on the beach, was being eroded by the tides of deceit. At the crack of dawn, Jerome is already in his garage, a humble yet busy place. Cars in various states of repair line in the driveway, while inside the garage, Jerome and his mechanics work on vehicles, laughing and talking. Jerome is a skilled mechanic, and with a bit of savings and a lot of hard work, he succeeded to open his own garage. It was a dream come true for him, a place where he could apply his trade and build a legacy for his family. The garage quickly became the go-to spot in the village for car repairs, thanks to Jerome's expertise and generous spirit. But as his business grew, so did the demands from his friends and family. They would bring their cars to him, not just for repairs but for favors. Jerome, they would say, just fix this for me, I will soon pay you. Jerome, never once refuse a friend or family member, would agree. After all, they were his people, how could he turn them away? But soon, the unpaid bills started to pile up. The parts and tools needed for repairs were expensive, and without payment, the garage began to bleed money. Marcia noticed the strain on their finances and confronted Jerome. Jerome, she said, with a worried face, you need to start charging them even if they are family. Business is business. If you don't want to charge for your service, charge for at least for the parts. But Jerome, ever the optimist, replied, they will pay soon, Marcia. It's just a rough time for them now. When things get better, they'll settle their debts. Marcia's heart sank, for she knew that Jerome's kindness was being exploited. In a secluded small local bar, where Jerome always pays for the rounds of drinks, you have a group of Jerome's friends sitting around a table. They speak in hushed tones, glancing around to make sure no one overhears them. Unbeknownst to Jerome, not everyone in his circle had his best interests at heart. While he was working tirelessly in his garage, certain family members and so-called friends were talking behind his back. They saw Jerome's garage as an easy way to get what they wanted without paying for it. More friends gathered around the table. Jerome too soft, one of his cousins whispered. He'll give us whatever we ask for. Why pay when we can get it for free? And so, they continued to bring their cars, promising payment that never came. They drained his resources, took advantage of his goodwill, and slowly but surely, they pushed him towards the edge of financial ruin. Jerome, blind to their manipulation, continued to work day and night, hoping that things would turn around. Jerome started feeling the pressure at work, as he could not pay for his own expenses of his business. How can he tell Marcia all this? As the garage struggled, Jerome turned to his accountant, a man named Elston, for advice. Elston was a sharp man, with an eye for numbers and a reputation for getting things done. Jerome trusted him completely, believing that Elston would help him navigate the stormy financial waters. Before Jerome came to the office, Elston is sitting behind a cluttered desk in a small, dimly lit office with a smirk on his face as he looks over Jerome's financial records. Elston had other plans. He saw Jerome's trust as an opportunity. He began to manipulate the books, siphoning money from the business into his own pockets. He convinced Jerome to sign over control of certain assets, including the cars, under the guise of protecting the business. Jerome, Elston would say, with a reassuring smile, "Don't worry. I'll take care of everything. Just focus on running the garage." Jerome, desperate and overwhelmed, agreed. But little did he know, Elston was quietly lining his own pockets and setting Jerome up for a fall. Jerome sitting in his living room, holding a letter from the bank with trembling hands. Marcia is beside him, her face pale with shock. Today, Jerome received a letter that made his heart stop, a notice from the bank. The garage was in foreclosure, and they were seizing the family's home to cover the debts. Jerome couldn't believe it. How had things spiraled so far out of control? Jerome was calling on the phone, Elston wasn't picking up, so he rushed to the office, hoping to find answers, but Elston was nowhere to be found. His office was cleared out, and Elston had disappeared, taking with him not only Jerome's money but also his trust and hopes for the future. Jerome was devastated. His business was gone, his home was lost, and his so-called friends and family were nowhere to be found. They had bled him dry and left him with nothing. Marcia, who had seen it all coming, held Jerome as he wept. "I warned you, Jerome," she said softly, "but you wouldn't listen." Jerome stands outside his former garage, now closed and empty. He looks lost and broken, staring at the for sale sign hanging on the garage door. With no business, no home, and no money, Jerome had hit rock bottom. He wandered the village in a daze, unable to comprehend how everything he had worked for had been taken away. The people who once called him friend now avoided him, and the family members who promised to pay him were nowhere to be found. Jerome lost not only his livelihood but also his pride and self-respect. He had been too trusting, too generous, and too stubborn to see the warning signs. And now, he was paying the ultimate price. They had to move in a smaller house that only Marcia can afford with her salary. As days gone by, Jerome got very ill. Soon after, he was picked up by the ambulance to bring him to the hospital. Sadly, Jerome had passed away from grief. His friends and family were all laughing at the funeral. Marcia could not believe her eyes. The moral of this story: Jerome's story is a harsh reminder of the dangers of misplaced trust and the importance of listening to those who care for us. In his stubbornness, Jerome ignored the wisdom of his wife and placed his faith in those who did not deserve it. He paid the price with everything he held dear. The Bible says in Proverbs 14 verse 15, "The simple believes everything, but the prudent gives thought to his steps." Jerome believed in everyone around him without question, and in the end, it led to his downfall. Let Jerome's story be a lesson to us all: be wise in your dealings, trust those who have proven themselves, and never ignore the advice of those who truly care for you. Thank you for joining us for this cautionary tale of trust and betrayal. If you enjoyed this story or learned something valuable, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this one, and make sure to click the notification bell so you never miss an update. Remember, wisdom comes from listening and learning, so always keep your heart and mind open to good advice. Until next time, take care and stay blessed. This is sadly a true story. If you were the wife, what would you have done differently for your husband? If you were the husband, what you would have done differently for your wife? Please leave your comments below.
This my opinion about this story. Human beings do not like to listen to their spouses. They rather listen to their friend's opinion and brush off the one of their spouse. The crazy thing is, sometimes those friends have no jobs, they are broke, but they are the ones that the loudest voice. Couples have to start communicating more and really listen to each other. Stop talking and just listen for once, and the most important, do not judge, because nobody is perfect. Stay blessed.